And the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to be playing some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woohoo!
Dungeons and Dragons.
All the dungeons and all the dragons.
That's
At the
right,
beach.
everyone. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Starla Hodgson as Carolina Swift,
Hello, friends.
Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry Shiny Rock.
I think one of my experiments went wrong. I don't feel so good.
Uh-oh. Jenny Meltzer as Zaleen.
Hello.
John Merlin as Baldu.
I hope the sun isn't too strong. I haven't packed any lotion.
And Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn.
Good evening.
All right. So, when last we left the Pocket Protectors, they had negotiated with a strange underwater octopus creature who had been trying to scavenge a few leftover pieces of the undead dragon armor that you felt you needed to collect for safety. But instead, he bargained with you, trading you some powerful magical artifacts in exchange for the rest of the set, assuring you that he could handle any threat that might be posed by the completed set. He insisted that he had it under control. You decided, hey, let it be his problem if he's determined to have it be that way, and you traded for a midnight stone tablet, a fancy storm belt, and an immovable rod, plus a second immovable rod to be delivered the next day, and a spell bottle. And so you have a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. But right now, it's not necessarily entirely clear what the next step should be. But I think what happens next is you had all returned to the castle, and I think you were discussing what might come for this next day, and you were surprised to have Sunia notify you that a delegation had arrived at the front door of the castle. It's a few men in very fancy clothes, and they have various people following them around with clipboards and scrolls and such.
Ooh, I like clipboards.
Clipboards are cool.
Carry a clipboard and you'll be let in pretty much anywhere.
And a uniform. You need
Helps.
a uniform.
Are you saying that I should let them in?
No.
Do they have any insignia?
I don't know that I can see anything related to the Empire. Perhaps
Do they
are
look
local
happy?
officials.
Do they look happy or do they look angry?
They look like they're annoyed to be kept waiting, but otherwise happy.
Oh,
Let's go see them.
And as you go just down to the front door of your castle,
Yep.
where had you set it down, by the way? I think you'd been in a couple of different spots. You were able to hover over the water, but not land there. And you had previously landed way outside of town, but I think your most recent location was probably, in some sufficiently sized vacant lot not too far from the city.
Beach.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we land on the beach because we had to go and, like, when we went to go find out what happened to the pieces?
Mm-hmm.
I think we did land on the beach.
All right. Well, that works just fine. So as you open up the gate and you see that there are, in fact, a number of people who are standing there in what looks like some sort of an official capacity. But in particular, there is one middle-aged half elf with some girth around the middle, kind of a, he's got the middle-aged bureaucrat spread going on, and he is wearing a fancy top hat, and he says, "Greetings. I am the mayor of Emersham, and I know that we have not been formally introduced, but of course we have you to thank for driving off that dragon the other day. And so I wished to greet you officially, offer you my thanks, and request that if you are not in too much of a hurry, perhaps you would be willing to be the guests of honor at our upcoming beach festival."
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds fantastic.
Splendid.
Beach?
Yes. Which
What's a beach festival?
is it, the beach part or the festival part that I've lost you?
Well, beaches are theoretical, but I don't understand the festival part. Are we celebrating the beach?
We're celebrating on the beach, but also,
Oh.
yes, celebrating the beach and the wonderful things that being on a coastal community can bring.
Okay.
So that's a yes.
That's a yes.
As long as I
Wonderful.
can bring my books.
We will be having this festival in 5 days' time, and it will last for 2 days. 2 days and 2 nights. And I will ensure that you have anything that you may need in the meantime, and I hope that the timing will not be too inconvenient. Certainly you are welcome to keep the castle here if you like. We will set up our festivities, and there will be some ceremony and some fireworks displays, and then of course on the full days of the festival there will be some food and festival games and such.
Sounds like a fun time.
Wow.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Wonderful. So I will ensure that you have are given any information that you may need. He has a young tiefling woman step up, and she's holding a clipboard and says, "This is Aurelia. She will be my liaison, so if you need anything, she will be nearby, and you can just let her know, and she can answer any of your questions. In the meantime, I, of course, have many important mayoral duties to see to, but we are very pleased to have heroes of such caliber staying in Emersham for our festival. So, once again, thank you and welcome."
Thank you.
I have a request.
Oh, indeed.
All orphans will be let into the festival for free and given food, as well as be able to play the games.
Well, the festival is free in any case, but a meal, especially for orphans, can certainly be arranged.
Excellent.
Will there be lectures?
Not traditionally. What do you have in mind?
Oh, I'm just wondering if anyone would be sharing their research, or, discussing theoretical matters.
He kind of gives like a side eye to Aurelia, and she kind of looks at him and says, "I think we can put together something."
Oh, good.
Well, good then. So,
While you're standing here, could you do you have a library here?
we do have a library, although I know that you all have come from Pashan, and I'm afraid we cannot claim to we cannot claim to have a collection as broad as the Imperial University or any of those sorts of collections, but we certainly have it as a local resource that we are proud of.
Well, believe it or not, even though we came from Pishon, I've personally never been to the library in Pishon. So I would be happy to visit your library, and it will seem amazing no matter what.
And it's less important that your library be broad so much as deep. There's a lot of local things I'd really like to know.
You all are, of course, while you are in town, free to visit the library.
Well, since Aurelia is going to be the liaison, I'm sure there's plenty of questions that we can ask her instead of keeping Mr. Mayor here tied up.
Indeed, I of course felt it was important to be present in person to offer my invitation, but for logistical concerns, Aurelia shall be your contact. So,
Oh, one thing, and I'm going to give him a quick business card.
okay. Oh, splendid.
Should you ever have need of our services?
Yeah, he glances at it and nods and then hands it to Aurelia. It's like, no, that's wonderful, thank you.
He doesn't like to be handed things.
Well, what's he gonna do with it? Like he doesn't. That's not. You know, that's what he has Aurelia for. So in any case, yeah, he kind of nods, gives sort of a gentle bow, tips his fancy hat, and then makes his way back down to where they've got. It's actually. It looks like it's more or less a regular sort of just like a horse carriage, except that it does seem to have some sort of like a magical contraption on it that pulls it along instead of having horses. And so he heads on his way, and so Aurelia just kind of looks at you all and says, "So, do you actually need me to do anything, or?" I mean, I'm nearby, but I've just got a book, so if you don't.
Well, I know you're probably very busy. But would you happen to have a copy of a map of the town?
Sure. Although with your flying castle, it seems like you could just hover 100 feet and just see the actual town. But
Well, but there's something special about walking around a place and getting to know it on its level.
well, I can see that you are given a map. I don't have
Wonderful.
one in my pocket to hand you right now, but I will make it happen.
Oh, of course.
I have a little bit of a sensitive request, I think might be the best way of putting it.
All right.
That I wouldn't mind discussing in private, if that's all right.
I mean, private. Yeah. That. I mean, do you want to just step away from the castle? Private where? What do you mean?
I mean, just like it's just kind of like I don't, it's not business for everybody, and yeah, just kind of like just a little request. It's actually me trying to sort of offer some help to you guys potentially, maybe.
All right. I guess I just. What do you want to just walk somewhere with me right now, or?
Yeah, I mean, we can just take a quick step outside. I mean, don't even have to be
Uh,
far, just out of earshot, really.
Sure. I guess unless the rest of you have anything immediately, I can.
No,
It was
I'm
very
fine.
nice to meet you. And I am going to hook Zaleen by the arm and bustle her off back inside to see if I can round up a hat and parasol and stuff for her.
I do have sunglasses, but a fancy umbrella would be nice.
All right.
I'm a master of disguise.
So this castle that is just sitting on the beach here, she heads back down the steps onto the sand and then looks to you, Baldu, and just says, "I'll follow your lead.
Well, like this is a bit of a tricky situation, and like I say, it could be as me helping you as much as it is you helping me. But do you have anyone
I
who
do have a
is
boyfriend.
scheduled to be executed?
Oh.
Now,
Um,
because like I I serve certain powers that be, and it's been a while. Like I need to. How do I put this? I can't really put this delicately. It's been a while since I killed anybody, and I want to make sure she's still happy with me. And so I figured if you got anybody who is, kind of like waiting to be executed, maybe I could kill. I was going to say two birds with one stone, and I kind of realized how apt that metaphor might be. So yeah,
uh, I don't think we have anyone right now.
it's all
Is
right. I
that
don't kill.
okay?
That's totally fine. And like I don't go around killing people at random. It's only those that yeah. But like you're safe. You don't have to worry. Like I ain't gonna kill you
Uh,
probably.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I just thought maybe if you had somebody who yeah. But if you don't, then you don't, and that's fine. And I'll figure something else out myself.
Uh, well, if there's anything else I can do for you.
Well, just like I say, this is a bit of a private matter, so you know, if you could not let slip, I'd appreciate it.
I won't say anything.
All right, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. I hope you have the best of days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You too. You too.
And I'll head back inside.
She runs away.
How to
All
make
right.
friends and influence people.
I did one of those things.
Got anybody that needs killing?
So, as things stand, you have 5 days to the festival. So, what I was thinking we could do here is certainly we can use the downtime mechanic if anyone is interested in doing any of that, but also just any other sorts of business that you feel like you would want to get up to during, a week's stay in Amersham. Oh, and key. This is not something we are going to reveal right this second, but you should be thinking in the background about your special beach episode outfit that you're going to have to, debut at the festival proper. So be thinking about it. But in the meantime, what would everybody be getting up to?
I would probably grab Evan and ask Baldu if he wants to come along and kind of do what I did in Pashan, where I kind of like wander around looking for people who are into what we're into,
Mm-hmm.
looking for like a, death support group, and see if they have, like like services or anything like that, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of share philosophy with people.
Okay. So I think what we did last time is we could think of that as like one of the example ones is religious service,
Mm-hmm.
and so we could use that mechanic. Or if you wanted it to just be more informal, then we could certainly do that too. But um,
Yeah, we
uh,
could do the religious service.
yeah.
That's-
Otherwise, is that something that Baldu
Oh
would
yeah, absolutely.
chime in on then? Okay, so let's have you then go ahead and so you are spending, significant amount of time for the week doing this, and there's no gold piece cost or anything. But I think what we'll have you do is that one or the other of you can roll with advantage, um, unless you would like to each roll, which could also be fine. Um, at the end of the required time, you're making either a religion or a persuasion check, and then the total of the check determines the benefits of the service as shown on the religious service table. And then you're also going to roll for potential complications.
Okay.
Might I suggest that Jenny rolls religion and I roll persuasion?
All right. And so I think what we'll do in this case then is if you're both rolling and you're rolling different skills, then it's not even so much necessarily that, one is aiding the other so much as you are just both working at it.
Yeah.
So, and you will each get results of your check rather than saying which one is higher or whatever. All right. Sounds good. We know from last time that Baldu is good at persuasion, so.
22.
And a 29.
Okay, yes. So both of you, according to this table, you each earn 2 favors. And that, in this sense, if strictly speaking, this was a town that had a church of the Mistress of the Dark, for example, then it would be like this is not necessarily like a divine favor as much as you have done service for the local temple, and so therefore those people are, inclined to thank you. But in this case, it's, I think what it will need to reflect is, you have found Emersham's goth community, and you have, been able to not only show them that you can be big, fancy adventurers who do big, important things, and also still be, one with the darkness, and all of that sort of thing. So I think that let's go ahead and just interpret this for now as you have found the local clubs that are kind of like the equivalent of goth clubs, right? They're, places where how about this? The 2 of you, please describe for me what Emersham's goth hangout spot is.
It's like a club, but it's like really dark in there, and I mean everybody in there looks like vampires and stuff. Just they're all wearing eyeliner. Evan fits right in. Yeah.
I like
mean,
to
that's
think
like-
that
Go ahead.
I like to think that during the daytime it's a butcher's shop,
Yeah.
and at nighttime, sundown comes around, the butcher goes home, locks everything up, and then everybody just kind of they lift up some wooden planks or whatever and creep inside, and that's where they hang out.
So, and I think as additional benefit to finding this cool place to hang out and speak to enthusiastic audience, they also show you the various places that you can buy, appropriately styled, beachwear, because sometimes you want to be on the beach, but you don't really want to be exposed to sunlight. So you need, fuller coverage than others might. And so that includes, head to toe bathing suits, fancy sunglasses, whatever you might like themed you can find is the point here. And so as you also have a promise that if you get into any trouble in Emersham, you've got backup from the local goth crowd.
Fantastic. And I will give them all blessings before we
Yeah.
leave.
And then I think also because the butcher shop that shares the building is owned by the local chapter head's grandfather. You have a promise for if you want some prime selections of meat for for barbecuing and such at the festival, then you've got you know
Excellent.
yeah, pick of the best meats.
I'll have to, when we get back, we'll run that by everybody and see what they want to do.
But I do also need each of you to roll a d10 to see if you get a complication.
That is a 6.
A 1.
A 1.
Yeah.
Well, that means that Celine gets a complication. So roll a d6 for me.
1.
A 1. Well, the d6, it doesn't matter which the number is. It's just like it determines from a table, but they're not worse than each other. But
Yeah. This is funny.
I think that as you are coming out of the club one night, you're just, everybody's kind of rolling out of the doors to kind of, it's nighttime here, but it's a warm night, and it's got a nice cool breeze going through, and you're coming out of the club, and there's probably a little humid and smoky in there from people hanging out and all of that, but getting some fresh air. But what did you encounter coming down the other side of the street? It's the local youth group for Solomonia worshipers. And
Oh God.
and they're that group looks at all of your goth crew, and one of them describe the leader of the Empress Solomonia youth group Emersham chapter.
Have you seen Wednesday?
No, like the Solomonia people, I think that she would look like Nellie Olson, like with the ringlet curls, and she has like a bow, and she's got like real sparkly makeup, and she just looks real wholesome, but she's trouble, just like Solomonia.
I think maybe she walks right up, and all of the rest of the group just sort of naturally form this V formation behind her as she walks up to you. And she just says, you really shouldn't encourage them. All it's doing is just making them think that they're normal the way they are.
I'm going to expend one use of my skin and turn into like a shadow, like right in front of her.
Okay. Whoa.
And then,
okay, that's dark.
yeah.
I will pick up my uncommon glamour weave in one hand and just kind of let it drape, like fall down, and have the pattern just be, light being consumed by darkness, and I'd just say, if only we could all leave one another to be one another's selves, then perhaps the world might be a better place.
I think the world would be a better place if the people like yourselves just kind of like stayed out of everywhere else and like didn't bother the rest of us.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, everyone dies, even you. So we all have our role to play.
You know what? You're talking pretty tough. And I know you're big shot adventurers and all. But I'll bet you that our crew can beat your crew at the Beach Festival Games,
You're on.
well, we'll see you there. And Light will banish the darkness. And then she gives off just like light cantrips, and all the rest of them, they have like a choreographed routine where it's like
Um,
and now their hands are all glowing with light cantrip spells.
I will cast darkness around them.
They squeal and run away.
It takes them a minute because they got to find their way out.
Yeah. From down the block, you hear it's like, "We'll see you at the festival, and we'll see who laughs last."
Eldritch Blast.
Must control Fist of Death.
So before we move on to next PC, I think what we have, once it's been decided that the gang is staying in Emersham for a while, Ivy actually asks to kind of speak with you all and just says, "So I've done some preliminary reports to our mutual employer, and have made some inquiries about the amulet, but it's been requested that I return to Pashan briefly for a meeting in person there, and then return here to rejoin you once that's finished. Is that acceptable?"
You have to go for a while? Okay. I was hoping to talk to you about a few things.
Oh, it
But-
will only be a brief while. Probably, it's a day or so traveling each way, and perhaps a day in the city, and then I'll return.
Okay. I've got at least 3 days of spell research to do, so that's all right.
You'll be back in time for the beach festival, though, right?
Oh, yes, indeed. I wouldn't want to miss that. It sounds lovely.
Excellent.
Maybe you can show Nedry how to have fun.
Sounds
you
rather
come-
sandy.
You'll like it. I promise.
Doubtful.
Well, I think you'll find a way to have fun. But in the meantime, I hope that when I return, I will have some updated information for all of you, and hopefully we'll have a lead on the amulet.
That
How are
sounds
you-
like a good thing.
How are you planning to travel so fast?
The lightning rail. Remember the train that you guys
Oh.
decided you didn't want to take because it was you wanted the airship was less trackable, less findable was the original idea.
I suppose that'll work.
It is actually the fastest, most direct route, unless you have an airship that takes you right there, and then you guys chartered the airship that doesn't go straight there. But
Book ship.
yeah.
Teleportation magic's faster.
So in any case, yeah. So basically, she it is plausible that she can go there, meet, have a day of meetings, and then come back in about 3 days. All right, so that's her plan. Who else has some downtime?
Zinhorn wants to take Buster out, find a good place to hunt, and then actually take him through maybe the less populated areas of the city to start with, just to
Okay.
make sure that his new bond with Buster will keep everyone in the city safe. His hope is to get to the point where he can actually continue his medical studies and actually start his religious studies, and still help people.
Okay. So remind me, is this part of this? What is the mechanical? Are you talking about some mechanical changes?
He's got he went from animal handling 0 to animal handling 11.
Okay. remind me how you did that. I think we probably
Uh,
talked
I
about
got
it. I'm just forgetting.
I got a feat at my last
Oh, that
level up.
lets you choose new proficiencies.
Right,
Yeah.
and he's double specialized in animal handling now.
Okay. Wait,
Uh,
I don't think you can choose the same one twice. So you just mean expertise?
it's got the dot with the circle around the dot and plus
Okay.
11.
Yeah, I mean, I vaguely remember that. I just hadn't looked at your sheet recently, so
Okay.
okay. Wanted to make sure if you were wanting to specifically be calling on skills on the sheet. Yeah,
Yes.
there we go. Animal handling for sure. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit the I guess it did let you choose animal handling twice. I would have thought that feat didn't let you do that, but hey, there you go. Actually, I wonder. Hang on. Your huh? Yeah. Okay. All right. So sorry to distract. I was just I was interested in the mechanics there. Anyway, okay. So let's talk about like for your um for your level up then when how do you interpret the what produced your new skills, like what do you think was what in the fiction is what happened there for that?
Um, like I've been working with Buster
Mm-hmm.
and like it's kind of been this wall where like he wants to do what he wants to do and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to tell him, what's not going to get us all in trouble. And we finally had this breakthrough. Um and it was just kind of like he went to sleep in the tower and I just kind of laid down on him, and he was just like drooling and stuff, and he and I just kind of woke up and had this better understanding of each other, like we both drool in our sleep kind of thing. um and and
I mean, do
it's
you
like
think it was do you think Rushama kind of gave you a boon, or you think it was just really just you and Buster?
he's been planning on uh getting closer to Rashama and studying more about the religion that he practices,
Mm-hmm.
because he realizes that he doesn't have the background that the other party members have in religion, and it's kind of weird, like he's the big healer and he like he doesn't have a personal relationship with Rishama the way that Zaleen does with the Mistress of the Dark, or even
Hmm.
Baldu.
Well, I think having come up in, the orphanage associated with the Temple of Rashama in Pushan, that, it's not expected necessarily that all servants of any particular spirit are going to necessarily follow the same path.
True, but it's kind of that, um I guess, like orphan thing. It's like he feels like he's missing out on something. Like
Mm-hmm.
Zaleen gets called away to, and like he hasn't even made a plan to go and visit the mountain itself,
Mm-hmm.
even years from now. Like he hasn't sat and written down like everything he needs to do before he goes and does a pilgrimage to
Mm-hmm.
Rashama. And Zaleen goes and visits the Mistress of the Dark and has tea with her, and it just seems like he could do more if he
Mm-hmm.
had that kind of relationship. um and so that's one of the things that he wanted to do. He, you know, he lives to help people and
Hmm.
to fight evil, and he's
Mhm.
doing okay with that, but he wants to be more. And like with Buster, it's more of that bond that they share about the endless waltz.
Mhm.
And so uh he's been playing his flute and playing that song that they both know from the endless waltz,
Mhm.
and getting Buster to like join in on the music, you know, like howl or
Yeah, I think it's definitely like that old saying about a dog walking on his hind legs. It's, you know, it's not that they do it well. It's just impressive that they tried it all.
yes.
Um,
And so, you know, like he's been trying to be better at the whole religion thing
Mhm.
and getting connected to Rashama, and also like getting connected to Buster.
All right. Well, so I think we can definitely do some stuff with Buster. I think about though some. We can also have you. Let's think of what are you doing in order to try to enhance or deepen your relationship with Rashama. If Zinhorn is feeling it like
Um,
it could be more.
um, he's got like a religion 101, religion for dummies kind of book to study up on
Mm-hmm.
more of the underlying tenets of the religion.
Mm-hmm.
And um and he's been reading that and reading it to Buster out loud, just, you know, because he's used to reading out loud to kids.
Well, you know, one thing that actually could be fun is certainly a lot of what is commonly known about Rushama's history, much more than was even really previously known, came about from the story of the heroes of legend, and so it might actually make sense to talk to Lynn about it because she knows all of that heroes of legend stuff, and the story of how Rushama came to be and all of that was something that was kind of uncovered in a lot of ways through that story.
Okay.
Is that
So,
something you would think you would study that with her, or does it feel more like personal?
I think that would be a really good place to start. Um, to like get more grounding, because he's kind of all over the place sometimes.
Hmm.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire, but um, like
Well,
talking
like
and
I
learning
think,
from someone.
yeah. So like Zinhorn has always, it strikes me as having always been sort of had a very intuitive approach
Yeah.
to his faith, but maybe you're just feeling like, you know, by not focusing as much on the like the historical textual aspects of it, you feel like maybe that's where your gaps are.
Yeah, gaps in the knowledge.
Hmm.
And um it's like he doesn't feel like he's being held back, but he wants to know more and kind of be steeped in how Rashama came to be, and just he have that more personal relationship.
Okay. So, if the two of you, so Lynn, how would you? How about this? We don't have to do like a whole like lecture or something, but how would Zinhorn approach Lynn in this regard? Maybe we could see a little bit of that scene
Um,
if you
hmm,
want. I don't want to put you on the spot if that doesn't feel comfortable.
um,
If it
I-
helps, I would probably be sitting in the reception area, maybe tuning my lute,
Dinhorn's
practicing.
gonna get like a plate of cookies or pastries or something from the kitchen, because food always makes things easier. And he's gonna bring them down to Lynn, and I brought you something because I know it's kind of lonely down here with only Sunya to talk to, and you know, I thought you could use a snack.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
I also was wondering, since you are like so super knowledgeable about the heroes of legend, if you could like help me learn more about Rushama's history and um, a lot of the stuff that's kind of missing, because like I've always been driven to like help people. So as soon as I knew how to heal people, like I was done with class, I was out, cure light wounds everywhere I could get it done. And I kind of glossed over the rest of those lessons.
Oh, well, I
And
can certainly help you with that. And I don't want to speak too highly of my skill, but I feel like maybe it might be a little bit more entertaining than, sitting in a classroom. Because I know how I feel about that too. That's not my favorite thing. I love sitting and listening to stories, though.
yeah, Arlo Leorn was old and he coughed a lot.
Yeah, that can be distracting. It's
Yeah.
important to maintain the pace of a story and not to break that whole suspension of disbelief.
He would also go off on tangents. And I don't know that anyone could follow him, but yeah, I would love to listen. Thank you.
Well, there is very little I like more than sharing stories. So I am more than happy to entertain you for a little while. Now I have to dig back into my knowledge of campaign 1. Okay. So, from what I know about Rushama, there are a few different stories, but the one that kind of always sticks with me and sort of that mythology, sort of bigger than big, right? It's the story of how Rushama kind of came to be, and I'm trying to remember the name of the person, but
Oh, you want the whole
yeah.
the story,
Yeah, she had like the rock and yeah, I don't remember her name.
yeah, actually, like, because I was just pulling up my own notes, and the where I have the story written out in story form does not name her. Um,
Ah, I thought she had a name.
yeah,
Hmm.
but in any case, I think we don't necessarily need to actually
You
spend a
should
lot of
retell the
time.
story. It's a good story. It's not that long.
It's not.
It's fresh in my memory too.
I mean, I will read it if you want. It's not that long, I guess, but it is gonna just be me talking for 10 minutes.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm trying
I
to
mean, the
remember
short
the
version
gist of
is
it.
that this was at a time when there was a lot of sort of, there was the time of the Titans and then the primordial chaos and then order coming out of it and all of that sort of thing.
All
And
of the war and the spirit wanted to protect the woman, so he built her a shelter, and then the shelter grew larger as the war got bigger,
mhm.
and more people needed protecting and more shelter from the storm, and so Rushama just grew and grew and grew and grew to protect all of these people
Mhm.
from everything that was going on outside, and eventually developed it's a spirit of its own. So imagine this whole big story woven with, lots of symbolism and
Sound effects on the lute.
probably, yeah, probably some um
Well,
what
it's
is
just like one of
the
my favorite sort of like
prestidigitation.
almost not even really a jokes in the Star Wars movies is how at one point C-3PO tells Luke, "I'm not very good at telling stories," but then the one time we see him actually telling a story, he's like enthralling a group of Ewoks and making sound effects, and it seems like he's actually pretty good at it. But but yeah. So in any case, yeah, It's lovely. And then so as far as taking Buster hunting,
Mm-hmm.
I would guess that his skills probably don't lend themselves super well to traditional hunting, not because he's not capable of running down and catching something, but because he's not good at being stealthy. So, like, everything kind of runs away beforehand. So, the challenge, I think, on your part would not be getting him to go attack something, but rather how to get him to be calm and patient and quiet enough to let something get close enough that you could potentially target it. And then the secondary challenge being, how do you keep him from, like, when you say hunting, is this just food for him, or are you thinking you want to try to see if you can have him catch
Oh no,
prey and
food
return
food
it?
for him.
Okay,
Food for him.
just to keep honing his skills there, as opposed to,
It-
because what I was trying to imagine is if Buster, like, catching a deer or something and actually returning anything useful, as opposed to just going ahead and
It's a nose and one antler.
um, so, but yeah, I think you can find probably not deer, because you'd have to go relatively far away to get like forest and all of that. But I think
Foxes or hares.
yeah, yeah. So there's because you're in an area that, like, unless you were going to really travel further, you would be in more of a, you know, hills and flatlands leading up into the coast. But I think with your uh, with your roles, let's. I think the hunting is not a problem. Like, he's good at that. So especially giving him sort of the reward of, getting to do that which he enjoys. But so then again, though, when you're coming back into town, you're maybe in the, like the outskirts where it's a little less dense, but you want to start trying to bring him along. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to want two roles from you. One is animal handling, of course, but the other is either persuasion, or you can maybe try to convince me of something else if you want. But the idea of persuading any of the passerby that do see you that this is okay, and you're not just,
Right.
And here's another question: is he on a leash? Like, what?
I was
How do
gonna
how are you
make a
doing that?
leash and borrow some sunglasses from Zaleen and a stick.
Because I just feel like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was just thinking, like, a leash on Buster almost doesn't make any sense, right? Like, if he decided to go, he'd just pull your arm off.
Right. Yes. And that's the whole thing. But at least to start off with, I wanna, you know, pretend rather poorly to be a blind man.
All right.
And that Buster, I mean, he's got six eyes. He's can look around for and keep me from walking into stuff. And I'll just say, yeah, he's my dog. He sees for me.
Okay. Well, so here's the question. I was thinking of a persuasion role to persuade people that it's all okay, but given that that's not true, you want it to be a deception check instead?
Uh, how do I do on deception? I do much better on persuasion. So I guess uh, I will have him on a leash and I don't know, maybe like make a little vest for him, a vest for him or something that says in training or something. Um, and with the idea that, like, I'm taking him closer to town and working on training him to be fine with people and animals and just being in town and not being scary on purpose.
Sure. So go ahead and roll an animal handling check to see how well he's
Okay.
doing.
I got a 13 on animal handling.
Given that you have a plus 11, that's a bad roll.
That really is a bad roll. Yes.
I think that he is like what you're getting here is the sort of behavior that someone who doesn't know him at all would be astounded that you are controlling this monster and that it's doing what you're saying, whereas you can't help but have your teeth on edge because he's just like, nope, he's not listening to you right away. He should be doing that command faster. He's too distracted. He keeps trying to go over there, and when you want to go over here, you feel like he's being stubborn. But like in broad strokes, it's working out fine. But you just sort of feel like, come on. We've been practicing this, and he's pushing back a little more than you want. But you're mostly getting the effect that you're looking for. But at the same time, I think from the perspective of the average Emersham, I was about to say road walker, and that didn't really, I think, go in my head where I was intending. I meant to just person on the street. How about that?
Yeah.
So what they are seeing is someone in armor walking a monster down the street. So how are you persuading, let's see a persuasion roll to see how well you're doing at persuading them that this is all fine and under control.
Okay. That's persuasion. There we go. I got a 14.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've got a lot of people still crossing to the other side of the street. They're not like, nobody's approaching to like say hi or pet or be sniffed. They are giving you a wide berth, but they're not panicking. They're not fleeing. So you've got it more or less under control.
All right.
Roll a d10 for me though.
A D10. An 8.
An 8. Okay, so this was just to see if you got a complication, and so a 1 is the only thing that produces that, so you're good.
Okay.
All right. What about Nedry? What are you getting up to?
So one of the things about spell research or transcribing spells, people think of it as just the writing of the spell in the book, but there's actually, the direct suggestion right in there that it's also about the experimentation. It's about the attempts that don't work along the way. So I kind of envision it's like a triptych of panels over 3 days as one of the few things that he's doing those days, where he's standing on the top of Sunya with Sorashana beside him. Sequential is at the base, at the bottom. And at top, there is this unstable wormhole, for lack of a better word, which is formed into which Nedry is handing things through. And then every once in a while, you hear Sequential yell up from the bottom, the result of whatever happened. And the result is things like burnt, frozen, twisted. I don't even know what this is, as the spells fail during that first few days. But partially the reason that it's failing is Nedry is turning to Sorashana every once in a while, and Sorashana probably not having a much better idea or any real useful thing to contribute, as Nedry is asking her questions about, so what exactly is the purpose of a beach festival? And what was this about a beach festival outfit? I only have one outfit. And every time he gets distracted, the thing kind of fizzles. And
I think Sorashana her like I'm taking a moment to imagine this, but I think Soroshana would want to offer answers to you, but the reality is that the idea of a beach festival is as much a mystery to her as it would be to you. And so I think she is entirely speculating. So I think it would be like, what sort of things do you wear? It's like, well, I would imagine that, you are making offerings to, the union of the water and the land are very different, but the beach is the place where they meet. So maybe what you need to wear are like two different things that are just very different from each other, like that. Instead of like matching, it's like the opposite of matching. And maybe that's what you would want to wear, because of course otherwise you would anger the spirits. Because if you need one thing that's going to honor the water and one thing that's going to honor the land.
So it's a spirit appeasement ritual.
Well, I mean, a lot of festivals traditionally are, based on, superstitions and local folklore, of course. They come from things that are, often, distorted over time. And when you are, interpreting something that might have been handed down by a fickle or finicky spirit in the first place that might not have actually made sense, but then you have generation after generation, it's all distorted. So now instead of performing the animal sacrifice, you instead are cooking hot dogs.
Oh, well, I hope they don't ask me to cook anything, but I might be able to do something about that sand and water. This is going to require more research, though.
I think the beach is the unique place where the union of those two elements forms a immiscible layer rather than mud.
No mud. Noted.
I mean, there could be some mud.
There probably will be mud. I mean, sand and water tend to form mud, unless you could make them separate again.
Well, mud is a broad category. It actually could apply to a lot of things. It's not a very useful term scientifically speaking.
There was a visiting scholar once that talked to Master Finster about how mud was one of the elements. I don't really think that his theory was very solid, but then again, I suppose it wouldn't be solid if it was mud.
Actually, if you look into the elemental planes, there's actually a border between the elemental plane of earth and the elemental plane of water, and there's an awful lot of mud there and all sorts of astounding varieties.
Oh. So if I were able to do something with mud, I really admire your intellectual depth. I'm somewhat concerned that I'm not going to make a good impression.
Thank you.
And-
I'm choosing to avoid making a bad impression by staying in the castle.
Well, no, I'm going to need you there.
I think she just looks at you for a long time and then flees inside. Flees.
I
is
can
going to
just
need more work.
imagine Lynn standing in the shadows, kind of giggling.
So spending 3 days to learn the spell, spending a few hours after each of those days discussions, basically in the library in Emersham, looking up local spirit lore.
Okay.
Obviously, there's the big one, but it must be something else.
Sure.
So
What I'll allow you is to do essentially 1 week's worth of the research downtime activity, just to
okay,
put a mechanic on that. Strictly speaking, this would normally require 50 gold investment, although I don't know, we don't really usually mess around with gold that much. I don't think that's... but what I'll say is... yeah, I don't know, because I just normally you would be able to spend more gold to get extra bonuses, but how
I do
about
not have
this?
that gold. I do not have that kind of gold.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wait,
was
no,
just
have
going to say
platinum.
we don't really do
Oh.
gold stuff much, but
Well,
in any case,
We have that gold piece a day that Lord Relenth offered.
like So I think the
Us.
thing is, what you have is a wealthy patron who usually just takes care of this stuff. What I'll say is that we'll say that you get to make an intelligence check with a +2 bonus to reflect gold supplied to you for this.
Any
purpose.
particular skill involved?
Intelligence. That's
So it's just straight up intelligence.
Yeah,
Okay.
but with an additional +2.
Okay. And is it going to roll? All right, I'll do it manually. Nat 20 for 27.
Wow. Okay. So that means that you're getting multiple pieces of lore, 3 pieces of lore specifically too. So, like, what specifically were you trying to research?
It starts with kind of local spirit lore,
Mm-hmm.
which is something he hasn't looked into spirits before, but not for a while. There is going to be Marushka. Am I getting that right? It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
In that, but also it would occur to him that the local spirit lore might be influenced by Denetherian lore
Mm-hmm.
because it's off this coast where supposedly Denethir was.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
it'd probably
absolutely.
spin
Yeah.
into that direction as well.
Well, because one of the earliest things that you had like known about it is that like there's the idea of Denethor of being like the archaic predecessor of Dawn's Tear, being a more like poetic thing, and recognizing that there are reports of observations of Dawn's Tear and that sort of thing, out to sea, and with various reports of what that is. And there's lots of speculation as to what it must in fact represent. None of the books here in this library are aware that it is a sealed away ancient city. But nonetheless, I think what you are able to find is a relatively small location range where you believe like this is where people have claimed to have seen something that you believe would be that. And so you think generally and could point to on a map, if you were wanting to go to the place where you will want to try to make a tunnel through this shield, you think where on the map to go. I think you also learn about Marushka and how, once again, you have learned from other sources some things that were not known to the people who write this. But given what you've learned about all of the idea that Marushka was once a spirit of a much larger domain, an entire powerful magic civilization island, as opposed to just the water around it and literally severed from the rest of it, that it does put into perspective a lot of the lore around Marushka and what sorts of rituals and offerings to make her have always kind of circled around the idea that she is looking for something that she can't find, and is always trying to satisfy some need that can never truly be satisfied. And so the idea of what to offer is something that would be special to you, in hopes that it will be special to her as well, as opposed to the idea that, oh no, she likes shells or seaweed or some specific detail, but rather the idea that an offering to Marushka should be personal to the person making the offering, rather than trying to speculate as to what Marushka wants. And tying all of that into the idea that now is because like there literally was this feeling of being missing a piece, and that it occurs to you, even though you believe from hearing Zaleen tell it, and the lack of, the storms continuing, that in some ways Marushka's kind of been appeased. It occurs to you now that given that what she is missing now is the the Denutherian part of her core, it occurs to you to wonder what would happen if you made her offerings of Denutherian artifacts. And let's see what a third piece of lore. Um, I think. Oh, how about this? You find that there have, in fact, been there's been a history of trade relations with the creatures of the type that you encountered scavenging the armor, and that it is, there's legends that there is somewhere a place where all lost things go, that is at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. And some people insist it's like, yes, it's a real place, it's in the Feywild, and other people say, come on, that's obviously just a fictional legend that's meant to be a metaphor for things lost at sea, and lots of that sort of thing. But it is also true that other people have encountered those sorts of scavengers before. And there's a lot of theorizing about the idea that if there is, in fact, a real place where all lost things go, what is the mechanism for that, right? Is there some actual magical force that draws things there? Or is it really just as simple as that place has people that go out and find and maybe sometimes take things to take them back? So it's like, are lost things magically drawn there, or are lost things found and taken there by conscious entities? So you found lore suggesting that some people think that's actually might be what's really happening for this place where supposedly all lost things go.
Okay. Nedry would also make sort of side notes, marginalia, on any mention of any outfit of any traditional or like priestly attire or anything like that that would have been associated with Marushka or any of these sort of fish things, because he's going to basically compile a large collection of disconnected bits and bobs and then try to build something which seems appropriate, using Sequential and Sarashana as kind of co-conspirators here, because between the three of them they can build a lot of things.
Yeah,
it's going to be god awful if I can manage it, basically.
Well, I was just going to say, like, you pick the construct that doesn't wear clothes, and the girl who is as far from the mainstream culture as possible.
It is absolutely the worst possible dream team for an intellectual version of fashion statements.
Yeah, we need we can imagine the montage of Nedry coming out from behind the curtain, and then Sorashana or Sequential, not shaking their head a few times, and then well, so I think in the meantime we also have Sequential helping to modify Yober's wheelchair so that it has big fat tires on it to go on the beach with. And then, of course, he is also doing in the background some working on deciphering that half of the journal that you found in the temple. What he has already, I believe we covered this already. What he's already definitely established is that it seems as though an amulet matching the description that Lynn mentioned was in fact recovered by the reclaimers during their expedition to that temple and was taken back to Pashan. What happened from there, the journal doesn't have an opinion on. But yeah, so all of that's been kind of going on in the background. Does anyone else have a business that they would want to be attending to before the big day?
Assuming the run-in with the the pep squad wasn't the night before the beach festival, I kind of would want to do some digging to find out what events we might face at the festival.
Wow. Well, so I think what you find out is that there are the specific details are secret because they're supposed to be a surprise, which is not the same thing as saying that nobody knows what they are, right? So it's just the sort of thing where it's supposed to be a secret, it's supposed to be a surprise, could maybe be found out with a little digging. But the gist of it is that there are going to be contests of athleticism, dexterity, and talent.
Okay. All right. Kind of fancy my chances to that.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I would definitely want to do, I'm going to steal Zaleen one night.
Okay.
And so Ironel is going to come along and escort her away for a night on the town.
So, which remind us which one Irinel is.
Ironel is the dark elf. The very, very let's see how to best describe him.
The handsome Rico Suave.
Yes, a bit of a rake, a little bit of a goatee. Loves his intense looks. Think in the new Jumanji movies, the Smolder. So yes, Irinel will serenade her and sweep her away for an evening of just the two of them. Perhaps a small fire on the beach. Maybe a little picnic basket, out of the sunlight, so they can just enjoy the darkness together or the moonlight.
On this date, I would definitely be like, I think Evan likes me. Just because I haven't really brought that up since it happened.
Camera briefly pans over to Evan watching from the bushes.
It's weird.
I also have to wonder if Baldu has noticed this strange dark elf that he's never seen before.
I mean, as far as I know, I'm not even there, right? Be a bit odd if I did.
Yeah, I mean, were you around in the castle in this form, or did you change once you had left?
Well, we left from the castle, and I was already like dark elf taking her out.
I track dark elves.
The camera
wherever I
pans
go.
further over, and Baldu is also in a different set of bushes. I don't know.
Creeping.
I don't want to put that on your character.
No. I do think it's funny that Evan would do that though. I can definitely see that after his behavior.
There's kind of a momentary pause in the strumming. He said, "My dear, do you think I have anything to worry about?"
Oh no, I was just telling you. I don't think he even realizes that. I was like, we're friends, you and me and Carolina, and he was like, oh.
The poor boy. I do not envy his position.
To be clear, when I describe him in the bushes, I'm not describing him like hanging out and watching. It's more like the jealous and then storming off, that sort of thing, as opposed to anything more unseemly.
Mostly just like, where did she pick up this guy?
Yeah, like, who is? I mean he knows about Carolina, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And I do think that the first time we went out with him, you actually did.
I was Aranel.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
He'll catch on eventually.
Well, if he was there, was he there with us in the temple?
No.
Talking to no, he wasn't.
No, it was just us.
Yeah,
I don't think we had Evan with us when we went in.
Mm.
Gosh, I can't remember now.
I can't either.
Yeah, I know Ivy was there.
Mm-hmm.
Then he must have been there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He,
I don't
he would have
remember
had to have been
because
there.
I didn't
He was.
start out in the temple, so I don't remember.
Oh, he definitely was, because remember you fought the worm and he died.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and he
right.
died,
Yeah, I saved him a couple
Mm.
times,
Yeah, he
and
was
then
there.
I died too. So
He got better.
Yes, well survived. Many a close call, but we are still here.
And we will continue to be.
Do not be afraid. I shall not leave you.
Good. I will try not to leave, but I don't always have control over that.
Yes, well, so long as you are always returned to me. That is all that matters.
Well, it might not be up to me. We'll have to see.
Well, let us focus on the time we have together.
Yeah, definitely.
More strumming and serenading. Just enjoying the evening.
And that awesome sound of the water. My favorite noise.
I think once you get back, and the moment you're kind of separate, I think Lynn, are you staying in that form for a while, or would you when?
Yeah, I'll hang out like this for a while.
Okay.
Maybe go up and stroll around
So,
the roof.
I
and just
think
kinda
at
take
some
it all
point
in.
you find yourself, cornered sounds a little more aggressive than I mean, but face to face with Evan, who's just like, so what are you playing at here? What is this?
Could you clarify for me, please?
Well, you're like, what? You're dating Zaylene now? What is that?
Well, I did see her first.
I mean, but I mean, so? Are you saying dibs? Is that what that is?
I am saying that this relationship was already. How do we say? That we had already begun how we are before you were ever in the picture. Do we have a problem?
I don't know. Do we?
Well, I would like to not have a problem. I do not like problems. They are no fun.
I don't like problems either.
Life is short. Mortality is fleeting. We should just enjoy what time we have.
I mean, I know mortality's fleeting. I'm the one that's I've been studying and everything. So I know. You don't have to tell me.
Oh, I am sure you know.
I mean, I was the one that died. I mean, I know you were helping, so I don't want to make it sound like I was not grateful that you were trying to.
Well, I too have died and have come back.
Technically,
It is
you were
not a
unconscious.
contest. Ever.
It's not the same thing.
Not quite dead yet, but
It's not, I think that's in character. It's like you didn't die. You were just unconscious. It's not the same.
it is not a contest on who has the
Well, if it was
more
a contest,
deaths.
I would be the one that won.
Sure. You can win that one. I do not need to be dead.
What? Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to be dead. I don't want to be dead. I'm not trying to say anybody should be dead, but like,
So from out of one of my pouches, I shall produce one of the cookies that Zinhorn shared with me the other day. It's like, here is your prize. Does that make you feel better?
I don't need a cookie.
Well, I find that cookies tend to help me.
I mean, I'll take the cookie,
You are welcome to it.
but I'm not satisfied. This is not over.
Okay.
And that he leaves, and from around the corner you hear crunch, 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 crunch.
I hope you enjoyed the cookie. Thanks, Zinhorn.
And I think Zinhorn, you're just like in some other room, and then just like walking by in the hallway. Evan is just like,
You're
"It's a good cookie."
welcome.
Yeah. All right. So, anyone else have business before we get to the beginning of the festival?
I have one last little thing,
Okay.
which is the night before the festival. I'll go and find. I'll go and look for a tracker. I'm after a couple, well, 4 maybe live rabbits or some kind of game bird, but it has to be live,
Okay.
with the intent of then I kill them and prep them for dinner. But when I kill them, I do the whole tokens of the departed thing, and trap their
Okay.
souls into my little soul trinkets.
Okay. Hang on. Let me think about this for a second.
Do we get existentially deep and wonder about chicken souls now? How do you
I mean,
weigh
it
the
just
chicken
says-
soul?
It just says creature. You can see.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think to some extent the intent is that it's, you know, it's creature, but without necessarily the assumption that you're. I will allow it in this case, but I would
Okay.
also say that like it's not just always going to be like a freebie. Like there's
Yeah, no.
context here for you having time to spend a little bit of time doing that.
Okay.
All right.
And then during the long rest that takes place the night before, I will use my. Sorry, I have a few bits and pieces. Whispers of the Dead. I get to pick a different skill proficiency
Okay.
on a long rest. So I'll swap out Deception for Athletics, and then because I'm a Shadakai, I can do a similar thing only without skills. I can pick out tools and weapons. So I'll have water vehicles and a playing card set that's proficient with those,
All right.
just in case it comes in handy.
So I think the day comes, the first day of the festival. There is a lot of the one of the very first events is a sort of there's a foot race where the goal is to be the first to the beat. You know, there's a starting point further out in town, and it's a foot race through the town to get to the beach, whereupon the winner will light the big bonfire to signify the start of the festival. And so this is a race that is open to anyone who wants to participate.
Sure.
So who else is joining?
Not Zenhorn. He's the slowest of the group.
I am not fast. Well, not terribly slow, I suppose.
Is it?
You
Would
are
that
not
be
the
like
slowest.
athletics?
Yeah.
Definitely not me.
Well, athletics plus there's going to be a couple of just little, you know, obstacles or complications that might require other skills, but primarily athletics.
Yeah, dexterity, yes. Athletics, no.
All right. Well,
Um,
well,
yeah,
so,
I'll try it.
okay, sure.
Ready? Let's do this.
Okay. There's a bunch of people joined in. It is a lot of people. This is the vibe. I think everyone should think of this is a local 5K, right? This is not like I saw a face there, John. Is that not a tradition you're familiar with?
Oh, it's not one I've ever partaken in.
Oh, okay. Well, me neither, but I've
YMCA
certainly
turkey
been
trot.
around them quite a bit. But in any case, the basic idea here is getting my video is slowing down. But the basic idea is that you have a lot of people who know each other, and this is not like serious business. This is for fun. And yet there's also the handful of people who might be in the running for like actually winning who take it very seriously. But mostly there's a lot of people who are doing it just kind of because it's fun.
There's a last minute entry as Nedry toes up to the line.
Ooh.
He is wrapped in a shawl made out of seaweed that he's been meticulously working on. How he's got the skill to do this, you're not quite sure, but he actually has the skill to do this. As well as baked clay over his sandals and streaks of mud on his normally pretty ratty clothes anyway.
Nice. So the seaweed shawl, wet or dry seaweed?
It's wet, and he'll actually reach into his pocket every once in a while and take out handfuls of water to throw over his
pocket.
body. Yep. In his pocket, he's concealed it at the moment, but finally, I get to use the once forgotten and never really used decanter of endless water, which he keeps in his pocket to keep his seaweed wet.
Nice. Okay. Do you have a race outfit, Baldu?
Red stripes down the side of my typical black outfit, because red ones go faster.
So how did you add the stripes?
Well,
Bloody chicken.
yeah, chicken entrails.
Oh my God, blood stripes for real.
All right. So I think that there are several dozen people lined up sort of casually, but then there's also, going to be. I think you've got like five other people who seem to be like taking the race a bit more seriously. What about you, Zinhorn? Do you have a race outfit?
Zinhorn is wearing a straw hat that has holes cut in it so his ears and horns poke through. Wide brim to keep shade on his face, and a blue ribbon tied around it. He's got a red and white striped shirt, and he's got a pair of jean shorts.
All right. Hang on. Notepad. There we go. So I think that I would like each of you to describe one of the 5 racers who are taking this seriously besides you guys.
I'll go first. He is a tabaxi,
Mm-hmm.
very lean, tall, and dressed as if he's ready to run the New York Marathon.
Nice.
Complete with like a number. Nobody else has numbers, but he somehow has his own like official race number that he's got from somewhere, front and back.
What is the number on it?
It is
616.
I was going to say 910.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I got one. There's a guy with a helmet, and it's got two bottles in the helmet with straws coming down into his mouth. So it kind of looks like horns. And I'm picturing probably a very tall but kind of lanky orc. So the straws are like on either side of his like little incisors, or his big incisors there. He's got like a white sleeveless, okay, a wife beater, basically. I don't know what else to call it.
Vest.
Undershirt.
Yes, a white undershirt. The few little like beer stains. It's very clear that what is in the bottles in the helmet is probably alcoholic. This is a very, oh, he's also got a foam finger. But it's not a finger. It's like a fin. Because, beach festival. And then some really short, like Speedos. He's got some Speedos
And
on too.
Speedos.
Yeah, and he's ready to go.
All right.
He's very much into this.
Nice.
I have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a female turtle with an eye patch, and she's wearing like one of those old tennis skirts and a backpack, even though she has like her shell.
A
Like, she has
backpack on the shell. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's it.
And
I kind of want to have. No, go ahead, please. I gotta think of it.
there's a woman who's got like long white hair. She's human. She's young, very, very stylish, and she looks like a personal trainer kind of person, and she's very competitive. She's trying to find people to stare at, to intimidate them, and like everyone else is, mostly trying to take this for fun, and she's intense. She wants to beat everyone.
Nice. Okay. Last but not least, you got one for us?
I think that I think it's someone who doesn't look like they belong in their clothes, because they're wearing a beautiful, probably silver lined tunic that isn't quite the right size, but it does have the symbol of Solomonia right on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And wearing a hat which has these golden strands of hair, but it's not hard to tell that the golden strands, these two large, long golden strands, are actually sewed into the top of the hat, concealing their bald head, as this Goliath ringer was brought in by Team Solomonia.
Yes. All right. All right. So it is brought in to be on their team. It's not like literally in disguise as one of them, or just the.
Yeah, kind of probably drafted earlier that day and convinced that, sure, I'll race for you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Be on our part of our crew so that if you win, we get to take credit. Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. Okay. So, the way this is going to work is that I want, I'm going to have 3 rounds where everyone participating, including our NPCs here, is going to roll an athletics check and a D6. And the D6, nothing happens unless you roll a 1 on the D6. But if you do, then there is some obstacle that you have to navigate that round in order to not fall behind. And I'm going to be keeping track of positions.
So we just use our own athletics?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. So I was assuming that I would do the rolls for the NPCs, unless each of you would Okay, maybe that's more fun. Each of you also rolls for the NPCs.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just go ahead and say all of these NPCs have a +3.
To their athletics.
Yeah, because they're all competitors. And so how about this? Max of +3, but you can choose for that NPC if you feel like you want it to be lower.
Mine's a turtle. I feel like it should be lower.
Well, if
Just
you want, I
because.
don't think we should assume that a turtle is necessarily slow. But yeah, you can
Nedry
certainly
definitely
decide
is, which makes him weird to be in this race. But
So the only reason I was hesitating to have everyone rolling for the NPCs is just I don't want it to get too confusing with the people who are actually racing too. So, does it make more sense for me to just do the rolls or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I think it'd get messy.
Okay. All right. So, then what we'll do is, let's see. I'm just color coding my dice here. And okay. So, first round, I'm rolling all of these, and those of you participating can do so. And so I think I will allow that, it's not a magic is not allowed sort of deal necessarily, but it's also kind of assumed to be like this is a race for fun. So, any magic used is going to be judged by the audience, so to speak, whether it's okay or not. You know what I mean? So it's not like cheating, but informally. All right.
when the sounding for go is given, Nedry does cast Longstrider on himself.
Okay. That one lasts for a while. He wouldn't have
For an
done it
hour.
in advance.
He could have, yeah. He probably would have actually.
Okay. So I think mechanically I was just going to be going by the rolls rather than normal movement speed situation. So what so for round one,
Oh, actually, he also would have cast Borrowed Knowledge
okay.
To gain proficiency in athletics.
All right. Very good. So let's go ahead and have the three of you who are racing go ahead and do your athletics rolls, and then also roll a d6.
Okie doke.
I got a 13
I got a 12.
Okay.
and a 2.
All right.
And
So for the d6, only tell me if you roll a 1. Otherwise, you don't need to say.
okay.
All right. I didn't plan this very carefully. Okay, hang on just a moment. So. Yeah, sorry. I need to simplify this for myself. All right. So, Baldu, what did you get?
A 13 and not 1.
Okay. So I think that and Nedry.
A 9 and a not 1.
Okay. And Zinhorn.
A 12 and a not 1.
Okay. So I think out of the gate, we see at the very first racer, the Tabaxi kind of stumbles coming out of the start. They're incredibly embarrassed, like they look angry and embarrassed to have stumbled right at the beginning when they were supposed to be so cool and professional with their number and everything. But nonetheless, they are falling more immediately behind. But the rest of you are so far still a little bit behind the other four of these prominent racers, and certainly with Zinhorn and Baldu a little bit ahead of Nedry at the moment. But we also find that the human woman, the personal trainer type with the long white hair, is as she is running along one edge, you can see that she is going to. There's a cart that is not fully out of the race path, and she is going to have to try to to juke around it, even though there's people on that side, and so she's making a dexterity save, and she does poorly, so she kind of ends up having to fall back because she can't get around that obstruction easily. So I think we're off to a start. You guys are in the middle of the pack so far. Let's get another round. Okay, Baldu.
A dirty 20
Okay, that's
and not 1.
good. Nedry.
10 and not 1, so I'm improving.
Yeah, a little bit. And Zinhorn.
15 and not 1.
Okay. So I think as things are heating up a little bit, the Tabaxi is making up ground from their poor start to begin with. But Baldu is definitely I think he is taking the lead, and we also have the orc with the helmet. As he is running, it turns out that the helmet is kind of sliding around and turning sideways, and so he's having to try to see if he can fix it while he's running, and he's having to I'm gonna roll to see how well he's doing that, and not well. So I think he ends up accidentally turning it around completely backwards, and so starts veering off slightly in the wrong direction before he is able to recover it. So he's falling behind now. Okay, so
I'm in the lead.
yes, but just barely.
How far away is the finish line?
I guess I did say 3 rounds before, but I'm actually going to do 5.
Okay, alrighty.
Each of these are going a little forward. So this is abstracted a little bit, but we'll say that you've done 2 out of 5 lengths.
Okay.
All right, let's do one more round here. Okay. All right, so how about Baldu for round 3?
13 and not 1.
Okay. Nedry?
Natural 20 for 23
Wow, okay.
and a 2.
Zinhorn?
16 and a 6.
Okay. So I think Zinhorn, you're doing an admirable pace here. But I think what we have in this particular case is that now that he has recovered from his poor start, the Tabaxi has actually got quite an excellent stride going. But Baldu and it is right up there. So I think the two of you are like neck and neck right now, but leading the rest of the pack. Whereas surprisingly, coming from what had been further behind, now Nedry is starting to nip at your heels. All right. Round 4. Okay. Okay, Baldu.
Sorry, that said a score that seemed impossibly high.
Huh?
It said 30, but I'm
Okay.
fairly certain the highest I can actually get is. Oh, it's because I rolled acrobatics.
I see.
There you go. That's why. Too many A words. That's going to be 13.
13. Okay, yeah. Okay, Nedry.
13
Okay.
with a 6.
And Zinhorn.
22 and a 6.
Okay. So, Zinhorn, you are starting to pull up towards the leaders here, too. both Nedry and Baldu are flagging a little bit from their pace before, so you're catching up. The Tabaxi is also he put on that burst of speed to get caught up to the leaders, and now he can't maintain that pace, so he's fallen behind again. So you guys are doing pretty well. You got a lot of people sort of all clustered together still for the big finish, but I think it's anybody's race right now. We got a beat from someone.
I want to use Blessing of the Raven Queen to teleport myself 30 foot ahead.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I'm getting. Oh,
That's a spell, right?
Yeah.
It's right in front of me?
It's an innate
Is it a magical
from
effect?
my
That's not a spell, though. Yeah.
from my race.
Well, I think it is a magical effect. So, Blessing of the Raven Queen.
It's not cast,
Mhm.
if that makes a difference.
Right.
So
it's just
probably
like-
wouldn't be something that could be counterspelled.
No. However, if magic has now come out and people are cheating, this is going to get a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to cast Vortex Warp on him being 30 feet ahead to put him 90 feet behind.
Okay. On Baldu.
Yeah.
We're on the same side.
There are no sides in foot races, I think.
Okay. So, wow, all of the NPCs rolled pretty poorly on that last round. There.
I guess I should roll.
Yeah. do roll, but then tell me like what your other thing. So this is the Goliath kind of came from behind and is the one to beat right now for how everyone else is doing. But so Baldu, so go ahead and do your roll, but then also what would your blessing just gives you a bonus or something else?
It just I teleport to an object to a space, unoccupied space 30 feet.
Right. Okay.
That I can see.
All right. But then find yourself 60 feet behind where you were before because Nedry.
Well, 90 feet behind me.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, so go
You
ahead.
can resist, actually. You can resist. Vortex Warp if you're not willing.
Which I'm not.
That's a Constitution saving throw.
Alrighty, here we go.
DC 17.
18.
All right.
I'm going to react to his successful roll with silvery barbs. He has to re-roll that, and I'm going to give Zinhorn advantage on his next roll.
Oh wow! Re-rolling my con save. Here we go. That is a failed con save.
No. All right. So I think.
Do you have to be able to see me to vortex warp?
Yes.
When I sense, is it too late to say that when I sense you casting?
I don't
or
think he
targeting-
would. So the whole point is he's reacting to you teleporting forward. So you're definitely
Right.
ahead of him. I don't know how you would see him doing anything behind you.
True. All right.
Yeah.
I guess I won't make myself invisible then.
Well, I don't think you would have known to do it before it
Yeah.
happened. So, and in any case, being invisible before you try to cross the finish line of a race isn't great tactically.
Touche.
But yeah, so I think people are really confused watching because you suddenly seem to zip forward, but then also zip much further back. Whereas, so Nedry, I think because you're casting a spell, I want to see this athletics with disadvantage.
Okay, I'll just roll it again.
Okay.
So I rolled a 19 and a 20
Oh, okay.
for 22 for the lowest of the two.
That's pretty good. But Zinhorn gets advantage on his last one.
Okay.
Feels invigorated.
I got a 13 and then an 18.
Okay.
So I got an 18 and a 2.
Okay.
And as we pull up toward the finish, I'm going to do Boon of the Juggernaut.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just
So remind me how that goes, just because we haven't seen it.
Once a day, I can use my action to take an empowered dash in a straight line. During this burst, I can pass through spaces with enemy creatures without taking opportunity attacks, and all creatures that you pass through must succeed on a DC of 15 dexterity
Uh-huh.
saving throw or be knocked prone or pushed 10 feet.
Yeah. So
No, I'm not going to do that. That's mean.
Okay, are you sure?
I don't want to knock anyone down.
You would if you did.
Do it.
I'm not
It's
going to.
It's the
Do
bowling
it.
ball. Bowling ball, they're just pins. No
All right,
problems.
I'll do it.
Okay. So I think what happens here is this last sequence is we see the Goliath has been not leading the pack, but has been powerfully building a stride and is not fading after a first burst, is getting close. But then Baldu surges ahead and then suddenly disappears and appears further back. And then we have Nedry having masterfully cast a spell while in motion and striding forward, staying ahead of the Goliath, and then all of a sudden, I think the shot that we see is from the position of the finish line where we see Nedry ahead, the Goliath towering from behind, and then the pack, and then we see as people are thrown to the side as Zinhorn surges ahead, knocks. So it's a saving throw to avoid being knocked over.
Yeah, it's a DC 15
Strength?
dexterity saving
Dexterity. Okay. So I think we need a dexterity saving throw from you, Nedry, and one for our Goliath here, who is not especially dexterous. They're strong, less dexterous, but they rolled high.
Yeah, 13.
Okay. So I think that so I think Nedry is popped aside, but the Goliath manages to keep their feet. And I think we're in the home stretch, and it's between the two of you. So we're going to get one more roll just between the two of you to see who actually crosses the finish line. All right.
19.
Okay. So I think they are so surprised at your sudden appearance there, and they're pushing forward, but they are, I think the fact that they suddenly see the glow of Solomonia's divine magic empowering your charge gives them a sudden crisis of faith of like, oh, I mean, like I usually just go to, to temple on the high holidays for Solomonia. I now, but I'm here claiming to be on the team, and it's like, is this a sign that I should be? And they are distracted enough by that they that you pull ahead, and Zinhorn is the winner. Yay! Everybody is cheering who's waiting on the beach, and so there is a torch sitting in a small brazier and a big prepared bonfire on the beach awaiting you to go and light it to start the festival.
Can I light it with my lightning breath?
I mean, you can do it however you like. You're the winner.
All right, I'm going to light it with my lightning breath.
All right.
I got to make sure not to catch anyone in the... He's
Town
already
burns
feeling
down.
bad about knocking people over. He heard his friend's voices in his head saying, do it, do it. And he bowed to peer pressure.
And so you start the bonfire alight, and everybody cheers, and the festival has begun. So the first, I think, most of the initial day here, there's going to be a couple of other smaller contests later in the afternoon. And that includes some cooking contests. And so there's a lot of food and food stalls all set up, and cookouts and so on the beach here. And the so that's the like the activity of the day. Is anyone thinking that they would want to compete in a talent show, B cooking contest, or B juggling?
I definitely want to be in the cooking contest.
I think Brennan should be in the cooking contest, but I could maybe do the talent one.
Zinhorn,
Seems like it would fit.
Zinhorn wants to do the cooking contest.
Okay.
I'll go for juggling.
All right. Brennan is definitely entering. He's got a green chili he's very proud of. All right, cool. So I want everyone to before we get into this, this for the cooking contest is another one. This is like, you get the impression from these games that like all of the ones on day one are, they're relevant, they're interesting, but like the day two is a big obstacle course one, and that's the one that like everyone takes more seriously. But for the the talent show we'll do first, and I want everyone but Lynn to describe one of the other performances, and then Lynn will, describe their own. And this is just generic talent show sort of thing.
There is a kobold. Actually, it's obviously 3 kobolds in a trench coat, and they are, or at least the one that is on top, is trying to sing Ave Maria, which I will not put you through. Me trying to sing that.
Ave Maria.
Yes, like that.
There's a really old human male doing magic tricks, and he has like a top hat and everything, but he has like the long beard stuff, like a wizard, but he's not really a wizard. He just wishes he was. So he's doing like ridiculous magic tricks with cards and rings that stick together and stuff like that, because that's all he can do.
I should point out that the 3 kobolds in a trench coat, the being 3 kobolds in a trench coat, is not part of the act. It's just they think they need to be that tall to perform.
See, I was thinking they would do harmonies, but maybe not. Like
Nope.
so they're playing it completely straight. Like, what are
Yes.
you talking about? We're a regular person.
Correct. Yes.
I think there's a tiefling who takes the stage, and kind of stumbles on the stage, which causes a bit of laughter, and then proceeds to amplify his voice and introduces himself as Hilarity, and proceeds to tell Rodney Dangerfield jokes for about 20 minutes about not getting any respect.
Nice. You got one, Paul?
For the talent show?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another comedian who's just he's very slow, kind of turtle, and he talks slowly, and he makes jokes about things being long and drawn out, and like a lot of the people are laughing with him, but he's not like hugely funny.
Nice. And so, and last but not least, what is Carolina's performance?
So I'm trying to decide what point in the day is this?
It's probably like early afternoon.
Because I'm trying to decide if I should go for something more upbeat or something to tug at the heartstrings, or what to do here.
I mean, your call.
Yeah.
Consider the venue.
Yeah. You know what? I would probably I'll have props and everything. Have a little table with shell game set up.
Hmm.
And as I sing and play um this particular song, the shell game,
Mhm.
I will be like kind of dancing around the table and definitely playing to the audience, and weaving this whole story.
Nice.
Like, if you want me to sing the song, I'll
Well,
sing it,
I
but I
mean,
don't have to.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think we would always love to hear you sing.
It's, hold on, have to find it. I think I've scrolled past it. So yeah, like during the song, I would definitely like shuffle around
Mhm.
the shells and fake people out. I cannot find this thing. I could start it though. In the market near Sitzlebek's temple, you may hear the occasional cry. Try your luck, try your skill. Take a guess, it's a thrill. Find the P and you'll win a prize. But be cautious while you're at the table as the shells are shuffled around, for you may end up owing a favor to a huckster who took you to town. Because no one can resist the shell game. Everyone answers its call. From kobolds to kings to villains and things, there are suckers among them all. I can keep going, but
Yay.
it's enough.
So, everyone else roll just a d20 for your NPC, and then Lynn roll performance.
27.
I don't think anyone else is going to beat 27 right? Just a d20, so.
Seems unlikely.
5.
I think there is some brief grumbling with some of the other contestants. Is like, well, they're bringing in professionals. I mean, this is supposed to be an amateur competition. I don't know what's going on there, but hey, we can't help it. I mean, that's a good performance. And so Lynn absolutely walks away with the talent competition.
Thank you. You're all beautiful. Mwah!
And I think you get a little fancy decorated shell trophy.
Very fitting.
Yeah, you got one too for winning that race, Zinhorn. So as far as the cooking competition is concerned, Brennan is definitely entering, and so similar to what we've already been doing, I think I'll describe one for Brennan, but whoever's participating, you should describe what you're preparing, and then roll. I think the roll is going to be wisdom plus proficiency if you have proficiency in cooking tools. If you don't have proficiency in cooking tools, it is just wisdom.
Alrighty.
And but before we go too far with that, as we're bringing in each character, they need to describe their beach outfit. So we just had Carolina perform. What was your?
Oh yeah.
And
I'd
your
actually
your
thought about
performing
this.
outfit can be different than your beach outfit if you want. We're also going to have a day 2 outfit, right? So
I only thought of one. I think it would be like kind of like a tasteful like bikini top, but like one shoulder like wrapped kind of just around the top, and then one of those skirts that's tied at the side. Goes down to about ankle length. And then some nice, cute little sandals. Oh, and the fabric is a printed with like it's very beach motif, so it's like kind of waves in turquoise and blue and ocean colors.
Nice. All right. So, cooking competition. Zinhorn is entering. Zaleen is entering. Brennan is entering. Was there anyone else doing cooking? All right. So, Zaleen, what is your outfit, and what are you preparing for the cooking contest?
So my beach outfit is like the one Helena Bonham Carter wore in Sweeney Todd when they were at the beach. It's like the really dark navy like pants with the
The
little
old
ruffles.
Victorian bathing costumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but it's black, and I'm wearing like black and white striped tights and boots and everything, and I have like a parasol that is black with like silver hearts on it.
Nice, 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 nice. And so, what are you preparing for the cooking contest?
I'm gonna make a triple berry lattice pie.
Ooh, very nice. What about Zinhorn? What are you making? Are you in the same outfit still too?
I'm still in the same outfit. Zinhorn's not used to having multiple sets of clothes. But he's going to make Saturday evening stew for after Mass with lots of veggies and local fish ingredients. So kind of tomato based with seafood and veggies.
Nice, nice. So, as previously mentioned, Brennan is he has got a green chili that he's is pork based, but pretty spicy. I think his outfit is he has got first of all, he's not wearing his hat, so he's got like he's usually wearing a hat like even inside the castle, but he's got like it's kind of tragic because it is like perfect tousled beach boy haircut, except there's a bald spot right in the back. Like it would be the perfect classic like beach boy like look, except that it's just thinning in the back right there. But otherwise though, he has got like kind of a pastel orange sort of tank, and some shorts and flip flops. So he's got that green chili. So those of you who don't have your character competing, let's do we want to get a couple more entries? You can just describe.
There is a Triton that is cooking shark fin soup.
Nice.
And a rather rotund dwarf, cooking a he's got a it's like a whole seafood platter of like fried calamari and fried oysters and fried everything basically. Anything that comes from the ocean, you can fry it. He's got it on that platter.
And then there's some commotion backstage as a goblin tries to enter human fingers, like fish fingers, but human. And yeah, it doesn't go down well.
Sourced.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. I think that the goblin is probably I think he's probably disqualified just on the grounds of like I think he's not disqualified so much as he is persuaded that it would be less embarrassing for him to withdraw because none of the judges will want to even try it. And he will sniff at the stodgy taste demonstrated here by this particular competition, but yeah, he decides to. Excellent. So let's get rolls. Or did you have one, Mark?
Sure. With delicate white hair atop his delicate white brow, silvery brow, I should say, silver, sleek skin, with an outrageous yellow banana hammock, and he's entering with juggling lobster bisque. It makes them tenderer, you know.
Very nice. So let's get the rolls from all of our contestants here. Just a D20 if your NPC is made up and has no stats.
Natural 20.
Whoa.
27.
Nice.
19 for the rotund dwarf with the fried everything.
Okay. Nice. So 27, was that just wisdom, or do you have
That's
proficiency?
just wisdom.
You don't have a +7 wisdom.
Oh, that was a saving throw. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
So my wisdom would be +3, so 23.
Okay.
Because it
that's
was a
still- that's
natural
still pretty
20.
good. Yeah, it's still pretty good. How about Zaleen? With us there,
21.
Jenny?
21.
21. Yeah, that's pretty good. We got lots of pretty good results here. Did we get what did we get for our NPCs?
The Triton with the shark fin soup only got an 8.
And the juggling lobster bisque only got a 12.
Brennan got an 18, which he's pretty happy with, but sounds like Zinhorn and Zaleen did splendidly. But that's another win for Zinhorn, it would seem, with that 23. So Brennan kind of says, looks like we're going to need to call upon the two of you to fix dinner once in a while.
Only if you want to eat pastries for dinner.
So I think I have a plan here for structure here. But so we have one more of these announced competitions, right? Where it's the juggling contest. And so I think in this description, we have fewer people maybe entering because not as many people are like necessarily good at juggling. But let's so obviously Baldu, what is your act? Like what's your
Chainsaws don't exist, right?
No.
So I'll say
Sword of sharpness exists.
Sure, I'll take. I need some volunteers from the audience. I don't need you. I just need some odd objects you might have about your person, whether it's a flip flop, a dagger. Maybe you've got some of a bowl of that shark fin soup that's been going round. If I've got anybody under about 20 pounds, maybe you're, I don't know, a pseudo dragon that's listening to this, I'll take you as well. And then whatever comes up on stage, I'll.
Nice. So how about that would be sleight of hand, certainly is the obvious skill there.
That's a 22.
Nice. Pretty good. So let's see. Let's get another 3 acts. Does anyone else want to jump in with?
Well, I can go.
Yeah, I mean,
I have
sure.
sleight of hand.
I mean, yeah, you didn't say you were entering, but you are absolutely able to. There's no reason not to. I'm just saying I didn't ask because you hadn't
I
previously
guess
said.
yeah. I guess I thought that juggling was part of the talent competition.
Oh,
like
no,
I
no,
thought
it's
that
a
was
separate,
okay.
separate thing.
Okay. I will juggle. I don't necessarily want to do anything dangerous. I'm just doing this for fun. So, I will juggle something. I will juggle hats. Lots of hats.
Nice.
So let's see. Ooh, that's pretty good. 25.
Wow.
Nice.
Very good. Very good. I think that there is a local fisherman who juggles live fish that flop in the air, and he gets a 19, which I think is it's once again to call back to that same figure of speech. It's not that he's doing it especially well, but it's kind of impressive that he's doing it at all.
I think that there's somebody that that juggles like fireballs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like a mage or something, and just
Sure.
juggling the fireballs, like conjuring them and then juggling them.
Do you want to roll for
I-
that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep. Oh, please.
$14.
14. All right. And so, did you have one, Mark?
Yes, because it's absolutely ridiculous. The silver elf in the banana hammock, having lost the cooking contest, is now going to try and probably be disqualified for juggling 3 kobolds and a goblin.
Are they cooperating? Like this is a team up?
I think they all see it as their last attempt to win something.
Nice. Nice.
Was the Goliath involved?
Oh, maybe it's between the two of them. The juggling,
There
it's
you
a
go.
team. Yeah. And they got an 8, so it didn't go
Okay,
so well.
Did not go well.
One of those
Well,
kobolds.
they hadn't
did
really
not
practiced
make it.
together, you know, like that's just
Spur of the
that's a
moment
rookie
kind of thing.
mistake.
I think that ended with there only being 2 kobolds
Hmm.
in the trench coat.
Like, hey, where's Jeffrey? He was here a second ago. All right. So, did you have one, Paul? You don't have to.
No.
All right, it's all right. So I think that was resulted in Lynn the winner. I think, right?
Well, just so nobody feels bad, I'd also probably throw in dancing lights just to make it a little extra fancy.
A little extra.
Oh, well, if we're going that way, I would have turned myself invisible mid juggling. All these things, flying around in the air.
The problem with the dancing light is when you stop moving your hands and they're still moving.
Well, I'm mostly focused on the hats here. The lights are just incidental.
So I think that the competitions all are kind of spaced out over the course of the afternoon, and there's lots of food and fun and just people playing in the water and hanging out in general festival activities. You know, there's some like kids are having their own kid versions of these contests too, and then as the sun starts to go down, there's the bonfire is there and people are cooking more. But then there's also, as it starts to get dark, there's a fireworks display and lots of oohs and ahs. But I think what happens as the sun is just dipping below the horizon, and because we are on the eastern coast of this continent, the sun is setting over the city. So what we actually do is we're briefly following the sun over there, and we go away from the beach just a little bit to see the leader of the Solomonia Prep Girls, who is kneeling at a sort of town square shrine to Solomonia, and is just saying, "We're seeing too many of those adventurers win celebrating the Mistress of the Dark. Please, if you want to see your glory on display here, help us to win the big obstacle course tomorrow. And then we see, just as the sun sets, there is a beam of light that flashes, and then we see it glint in her eyes, and then that's going to be cliffhanger for tonight's session.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cheater.
I don't know. I can go to bed and pray to the Mistress of the Dark too.
The Temple of Rashama won a couple of events over here too.
Yeah. So I think that's where. I hope that nobody minds the beach episode being split into two parts here, but
No.
I couldn't resist the temptation of having a big event with stakes and everything being a little bit more given a little more time. So I think that'll do it for this time. So if we will return to find out what happens next at the remainder of this beach festival when we return next week for more adventure on so many levels.
How many
So
levels?
many levels.